that actually was my first hustle, and at an early age, I just kind of was able to see or figure out, how to push and how to sell the novelty. Yeah, you may have this y'all blow pops, but y'all ain't got that watermelon and swirl blow pops that you get on 135th Street. So I had a small little committee crew of kids around me that actually was helping me sell candy at an early age. So yeah, that was my first entrepreneurial venture. High school, as I progressed to high school, my father actually got a promotion with Xerox, moved down to Atlanta, Georgia, finished high school in Atlanta. And then from Atlanta, as AJ stated, I was accepted to Florida A&M, and that was a beautiful, beautiful beginning. And the thing about being in business and being an entrepreneur and working for yourself, a lot of times, and I'll say this a few times throughout the webinar, you really don't know what you know, and how many things along the way that you picked up on, even something as small as selling candy in elementary school. These little things actually groom you and prepare you for bigger things to come. I truly believe life is a funny puzzle, and that you have to sit back sometimes and look at the bigger picture and start piecing things together, and that's when you'll get a few aha moments. And that actually happened to me a few times. That happened to me actually before I went to college. It happened to me in high school, where when I first moved to Atlanta, I had my core group of friends that I just met when I moved to Atlanta. I was 15 years old, didn't really know a whole bunch of people in Atlanta, but considering my father worked for Xerox, I had access to these mega copier machines. So I said, being that I'm new to the city, I'm gonna throw a party. I'm gonna make my own flyers. I'm gonna throw a party, invite everybody out, and my parents were like, you sure you want to do this? Yeah, it'll be a few folks, man, maybe 20, 30 folks. Through, me and my friends, we put out all these flyers for this high school party, and on the day of the party literally shut down the entire subdivision. We had like 400 or 500 kids from all types of high school in the backgrounds popping up at this party. It was crazy. So that was actually my first true event. And at that time, I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought it was just cool. New guy in town throwing a fun party. It is what it is. But little did I know that actually was a stepping stone for things that I later did in college, that I more so just did out of just lifestyle and just having fun. But these little moments were actually grooming me for something I didn't even know that was forthcoming. So while at Florida A&M, I had just like every college kid, you had your core group of friends and associates. And I recall one of my friends coming to me around about the time, a little bit after the movie, actually several years after the movie School Days came out. And he was like, I think somebody needs to really put together a script or an idea about like real black college life. And, none of us knew anything about making movies or anything. I was in school as a business administration major. He was an engineer. I had another friend that was in school for computer science. So he's like, I think somebody should actually put this together. I think I want to write a script and do a movie. And considering I knew nothing about movies, I was like, you put together the script. We'll get somebody to review it and improve the script, and shit, we'll try to put together a movie. I mean, why not? Who's going to stop us? So he put together a script, and it was dope. It was dope. He's like, it's dope. It's a little long. I think it was like 300 pages, and in Hollywood, each page represents a minute. So he said, we can't do a 300-minute movie about black college life. Ain't nobody sitting through a Gandhi movie about black college life. So we got somebody to kind of look at it, chop it up, edit it, break it down. And then we needed funding for this movie. We didn't have any money. Just college kids. So we came up with this great idea and said, you know what? if you start a sanctioned club on FAMU's campus, you can get some funding from the school. So we made up a club called FAMU Cinema Club. We just made it up. And the people that were putting the movie together were the members. We got a sanction, and we actually were able to pull some money together from the school, and we got some kids over at FSU to give us access to some film cameras and help us shoot this film. And again, we didn't know what we didn't know. We were just young kids going at it and trying to create something. And so in doing that, we actually formulated this production company. We filmed this movie. We sold it out at every theater in Florida that we showcased it at and premiered it at. We had a showcase in New York. We had a showcase at the Creative Artists Agency in Atlanta. In LA. We did everything that we could do to push this film, and lo and behold, somebody actually noticed our hustle, noticed the film, and they gave us a distribution deal. So at the age of 2021, we had a movie that was distributed, and I'm about to date myself. We had it distributed through Blockbusters nationwide. And those guys have gone on to do mega films. I actually broke away because my passion was music. They continue doing films. And to this day, they have created a huge name for themselves in the industry. So I'm looking at this slide in the next year. So you go on to the next slide. So yeah, my first business partners actually was Rob Hardy and Will Packer. We created Rainforest Productions. They went on to do Stomp in the Yard and oh Lord, you guys know. It's a slew of movies, and Will is producing all types of movies with Kevin Hart now, and Rob is doing a bunch of television. He's produced a few episodes of How to Get Away with Murder. But again, we're all young college kids that didn't know what we didn't know. We just know we wanted to succeed and do something and put something together and create something that spoke to us directly. And from that spawned Rainforest Productions, and they, and a very enriching career for both those guys. So again, it's putting, getting passionate about ideas that you truly believe in. You just don't know the direction that it could push you and where it can drop you off. So upon college, they went on and kept pushing to do the films, and I supported. I kind of took a step back away from Rainforest and supported them, with as a, for the first, several years, maybe 5-6 years, they were doing small little indie films, and just trying to make it all happen. I actually went on and started doing more things within music, and started working for my family business, which was a Xerox agency. But something else was calling me, and so I wanted to figure out what that something else was, but I didn't want to do it on the dime and on the time of my parents and my parents' business. So I actually seeked employment outside of the family business and ended up as a legal consultant with LexisNexis. But while I was, in the quote-unquote corporate world, as you already know, dating back from my college, my high school days, throwing high school parties out, I enjoy a good time. So, nightlife was something that was a part of my life, and music was always a part of my life. So in just going out into, the nightlife scene and the live music scene in Atlanta, Atlanta, as crazy and as happening as it was in the late 90s and early 2000s, to me it felt like it was missing something. It was missing an element. And that's when I actually came up with a brand called Soul Fusion. And it was just a party. It was just a standard party. But our theme was International Love Fest, Intercontinental Love Fest, excuse me. And what that was a party that kind of embraced all walks of people, types of people, races, cultures, and music. So, we would have everybody from, One room you would see a deep house room, and one room would be old school hip hop. One area would be dance or reggae, calypso. Another area of the party would be a straight hip hop anthems and club bangers. But it was a space that allowed all people to come together and just celebrate music. And I created this event because everything was just very cookie cut to me in Atlanta. And I didn't see anything that kind of spoke to that. Either it was just, it was white night at the club, or Latin night at the club, or it's gay night in the club, or it's black night at the club, or it's a hip hop night at the club. But that's not how I listen to music. So I needed something that represented me and my circle. Like, we listen to everything, and all types of music pulls and attracts all types of people. So that's when Soul Fusion came about. And I will say that I started that event without the mindset of making money, because I already had a pretty cushy corporate job. I was a young dude making good money in corporate America, and so money was not my motivation for creating this outlet. It truly was about the music and the experience and the culture. So I think that actually was one of the contributing factors of its success, that money was not it wasn't the carrot, it wasn't the thing that drove or fueled the machine. It truly was the culture. And to tell you, when I first did the first event, it might have been 30 people. No lie, 30 people at the event. Club owner looked at me sideways, like, bruh, what's going on? We can't keep doing an event for 30 people. And so, I said, well, I need a little time. I got this. This is the first event. It's a lot of other things going on in the city. This is something new. People kind of have to, digest this and really adopt this mindset and this type of party. Give it a second. So he did give it a second. And then it grew from 30 to 80, and from 80 to 150, and then 300. And before you know it, we had damn near 600 to 700 people partying with us on a weekly basis for this Soul Fusion event. And that's when I realized, wow, this is something special. We got something here. And again, I'm going to reference this again. You don't know what you don't know. So at one of these events, I always saw this young lady who came with all the friends, party, taking shots, having some drinks, having a good time. But she was just cool. She was a regular that just came to the events. Never asked her what she did, or none of that. So one day at one of the events, she said, what, I want my brand to be a part of Soul Fusion and all the events that you're doing. I had no idea what she was talking about. I said, well, what do you mean with your brand? Like, what are you talking about, your brand? She said, well, I work for Heineken, and what you're creating here is powerful. I love these events, and they're very unique. And as far as the audience that we want to reach, you're touching on the audience that we want to communicate with. And I said, oh, okay, so what you and at that time, being a little green in the game, I didn't know what she meant by having her brand associated with the event. And so, or being a partner with the event. So at that moment, my question to her was, because another thing of being an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to shut up and listen. I asked her, I said, well, what would make the perfect partnership or situation for Heineken? And I didn't say anything else, because that was the answer or the question I needed to be asked in order to get all the answers that I needed to know. So she laid it on thick. She said, well, if we do this with some price point special and some branding and some, activations, and okay, I'm just listening. I'm taking all these buzzwords. I'm like, okay. I get it now. I get it. Heineken knows how to speak for itself, but Heineken sometimes needs another voice to speak to the audience that they want to touch. because they don't know how to communicate directly to that audience the way you do, or the way Soul Fusion could. So they needed Soul Fusion to be that voice. So at that moment, you know, that's when Soul Fusion more so became not only an event, but also a brand marketing engine for Heineken, and then we actually grew and started doing some things for some other events as well. So I didn't know what I didn't know. And at that time, I also had to make a decision. I can't maintain this 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. business and still try to grow this brand. Because after Heineken came on board, probably about 2.5 years after doing, creating the Soul Fusion brand. And also the event started, it started bleeding over into my corporate world. I started going into these law offices and speaking to attorneys and judges, and these folks would be like, yo, okay, I recognize you. I was at your event last night. And that's when I really said, okay, this is ridiculous. I can't be a guy here trying to, you know, push legal consulting with these attorneys and you know, and then seeing them Friday night in the clubs. So at that time, I took a leap of faith and said, you know what, we're going to see where this ride's going to take us.
Hey, Jay.
So,
all right, I'm gonna have a bunch of questions come in, but I think this one is kind of timely to what you're talking about, being that you were kind of just starting out. And this question is from Joseph. Joe's question is, knowing what you know now, if you were starting all over again, how would you advise yourself as someone starting all over again from, you know, working corporate America and wanting to transition?
Well, I would say this. I mean, because I know there's a lot of different types of people on this call. Everyone's not a quote unquote event producer or promoter or an event planner or a quote unquote social architect or a social engineer. Or in brand, well, you are in some type of brand marketing if you're on this call. But what I would say is you definitely have to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself, and have a true understanding of what it is that you want to do. So it's a truthful moment you need to have with yourself. And when I say, you know, really understand what it is that you want to do is, you know, so many times people confuse hobbies with professions or passions with professions. So if you have a hobby, be true to yourself and let that be a hobby. But if you truly want to take a passion and turn it into a profession, you really got to take inventory of your life and say, is this something I can afford? And I mean that in all tenses of the word, afford, you know, financially and with your time to run after and go after. So, you know, so because creating a brand it's hard work. You know, it's not 20,000 Instagram followers and 30,000 followers on Twitter and you know, 10,000 followers on Facebook, and now you can create a brand. I wish it was that easy. You know, I think it's even more so harder today than it was then. You know, because you just have so many people competing for your attention with social media. So I think you really have to take true inventory, and it's a lot of self-sacrifice as well. The most valuable thing that you have outside of knowledge is your time. You know, and everybody has the same 24 hours in the day. So you really got to figure out how you're going to spend yours. You know, so I would definitely have a sit down with nobody but yourself and God and say, is this something I really want to do? And how much can I afford to put into this thing of my time, of my energy, and of my money and resources? So that's my best advice to you. And really do the whole Ben Franklin, the pros and the cons, and really see if it's something that you can afford to do. I hope I was able to answer that question.
Oh yeah, okay. No, that was a good answer.
Okay.
We have so many questions coming in. I can't even scroll back to the person, but we'll keep pushing.
Okay. So that was Soul Fusion. Soul Fusion was started off as a weekly event, then it became a monthly event, then it became a lot to manage. So we kind of did it sporadically, like every other month. We would get anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 per event, depending upon the space that we did the event in. But Soul Fusion also opened up an opportunity for me. I had two other friends of mine, actually three other friends of mine that were in promotion business. They were in the live music business, and a space that we saw that was truly lacking in Atlanta was live music. There was so much talent in Atlanta, that young, just developing talent from your India Aries to even your Ushers and your Anthony Davis and Algebras and even your Ludacris's and from Lloyd to Ludacris to T.I. People don't understand, like T.I. was on the scene in like early 2000s. I'm talking like 2001, 2. But a lot of these folks didn't have an outlet to perform live. So we actually found an opportunity to open up a live music venue called Sugar Hill. And being from Harlem, it had a little influence on the name. But Sugar Hill, we opened up Sugar Hill in underground Atlanta. We had it for about 5 years. Held close to 600 people, and we had everybody in there from John Legend to Erykah Badu to Jill Scott to Bootsy Collins to Gil Scott-Heron to Mel LaRue to, everybody. Janelle Monáe's first ever performance was in Sugar Hill. Well, her first ticketed performance was in Sugar Hill. And she'll make mention of that in a lot of her interviews as well. And for her second show, Puffy actually popped up at the show. Big Boy was there, and that's when she actually signed her deal with Bad Boy right after that show at Sugar Hill. So we have a lot of history with Wonderland and Janelle. But again, Sugar Hill could only thrive because there was a space that wasn't being catered to, and that was progressive urban music. Did not have a stage to perform. And Sugar Hill was, it was a moment, man. It definitely was a staple. If anybody was around during that time, everyone had the Sugar Hill story. You just never knew who was going to pop up and get on the stage on a Tuesday night. But Soul Fusion was able to birth Sugar Hill. And I will tell you, without Soul Fusion and without Sugar Hill, there would be no One Music Fest. So a lot of people just think, One Music Fest just kind of popped up 6 years ago and just kind of started building its momentum, and now it's this crazy event with 17,000 some odd people. No, not at all. It's a lot of history of how that came about and why it's here and why it's doing what it's doing. There's a group called Watch the Duck. Everyone, when you first hear the name, you're like, what the hell is that all about? Watch the Duck. But then when I realized the meaning behind the name, I was like, it makes perfect sense. The meaning behind that is, when you look at the duck in a pond on the water, it just moves so effortlessly. It just moves. And sometimes it's fast or slow, or just kind of just flowing, but it moves effortlessly. But if you were to look under the water, them feet are kicking. Like that duck is working. Like there's so much you don't see that's going on behind the scenes to make that duck look and to make like it's moving so effortlessly. So and that's the same thing with One Music Fest. Without building a Soul Fusion database, like when I was building a database, I didn't know the end result was going to be One Music Fest. I just knew I needed to build a database. So we build this database with all the Soul Fusion patrons. We build this 5-year database of all these live music lovers in Atlanta through Sugar Hill. And then at the end of the day, you sit back and you're looking at a database of 100,000 some odd people that, and the type of music they like, the type of tickets they buy, and where they live, and the type of venues that they like to frequent, and even drinking preferences and what they're drinking. It's like, well, what do you do with this? And dating from far back in college, I knew that music was my vice. That was my thing. That was my passion. That was the thing that moved me. So also looking at the space of live music in Atlanta, I also, while growing and developing Sugar Hill, realized we really didn't have an outdoor festival feel, like brand that really spoke to progressive urban music. And when I say festival, I'm not talking about the, and I'm not taking shots at any type of festival, but I'm not talking about the festival when it's one stage, you come out with your cooler and your cheese plate, and you sit down on your blanket for half a day staring at one stage. Like a festival is truly about discovery. It's truly about moving around, walking, meeting new people, having new experiences, and all of your different sensors being touched, be it if it's sight, smell, taste, feel. Everything is being touched. That's what a festival is about. When you go to Coachella or Bonnaroo or even Governor's Ball or any type of festival, that it's a one moving machine, and everyone's just kind of moving and experiencing different things. Essence Fest doesn't really give you that. It gives you more of an expo effect, an expo experience. You're still sitting inside of a stadium, a football stadium, with different rooms and one main stage, but it wasn't like a festival feel, an open air festival type experience. And I just thought we was missing that. And that's really when we started putting pen to paper and say, you know what, we need this experience. There's, and if we try to sit around here and wait for somebody to build it, we're going to be, who's to say, one, they're going to do it right? And two, who's to say somebody cares enough about urban music to really put something together like that? So we said, why wait? Let's do this. I think we have the database, we have the reach, we have the brands. Let's make this happen. And I knew nothing about producing a festival. And then also in producing an event or venturing out into a world or an arena that you know nothing about, the first thing that you typically try to do is get a mentor, get some direction, like the same thing that you guys are doing now on the call, like trying to figure it out. But when I tell you there are no black folks that's producing festivals like this, and I didn't realize that until I tried to figure it out. I was like, in looking for a mentor, like none of my mentors look like me. I'm sitting here talking to AEG and Live Nation and the folks that's running Tabernacle and Rival Entertainment. But none of these folks look like me. So on one side, I'm saying, well, what the hell do they know about urban music or even progressive urban music? So we really rolled the dice with One Music Fest. But the one thing that everyone did say is that it will take 6 years for you to see daylight with the festival. So you have to figure out how to survive for 6 years, not making any money and losing money. So again, when I say come to Jesus and sit down and really take inventory of your life, if this is something that you really want to do, passion versus profession, you really got to take real, truthful inventory about who you are, what you can afford to lose, and how bad you want to win. I was committed. The first festival when we lost money, I said, "Oh, so this is how this works." And it was an expensive lesson, a very, very expensive lesson. But the same thing that moved me to produce Soul Fusion, moved me to produce One Music Fest. It was definitely about the people and the culture. And I said, eventually, we will get it, But but it's also, how do you tell that story in order to make sure that your people do get it? And that's a lesson for another day. So, but One Music Fest was it was a lot of bricks being laid prior to day one of One Music Fest.
Hey Jay.
Yeah.
We got two other timely questions. Everyone sees the graphics on the screen that says how much you lost the first year, roughly 80,000. So this question is, how did you rebound? How did you respond to that loss? And the second question, this has to do with mentoring and mentorship. If someone wanted to learn from you, how would they go about doing that?
How did I rebound? I'll get to that first. Man, I would definitely say family, and just savings, man. Family and savings. We figured it out. We said, look, at that moment we said, is this something that we need to continue to try to develop? So there's two ways to look at a loss. You can look at it as a loss, or you can look at it as an investment. Regardless, if you invest money, it's out of your hand and it's gone, and you hope to get a return. So every dime that I lost, I looked at it as an investment. I'm investing this money into this brand. So it's 1,000% a mindset. I can't make that money come back. I can't replace it. The only thing that's going to replace it is with hard work, or creating other opportunities for me to generate that money back. But regardless, when generating that money back, I reinvested it into One Music Fest and building and developing that brand. As far as mentorship, I mean, this is the first step. This is stage one. We do reach out to bring on interns every year. We'll probably about to put out a call within the next month or so, and get people kind of geared up and ready for 2016. We got an awesome group of interns and ambassadors this year for One Music Fest, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to return, and I think a lot of them walked away with a lot of great knowledge and a hell of an experience as well.
Hey, yeah. Someone just asked this question. Would you, people who pay for the course, let me read the question. Would you prefer people who pay for the course? Would you prefer people who pay for the course? I guess what the question is saying is, if they join the course, would they have an advantage over someone else in getting mentorship?
Probably. I mean, that's a tough question to answer. But I mean, the easy answer is yes. Because again, I think there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be shared on the course, not only from myself, but we're also going to bring in 4 friends, a very highly successful friend of mine that are in the branding industry, into the course and the webinar as well. That's going to give, if you think I'm dropping nuggets of wisdom and knowledge, they will come with tons. So it would prepare you better for mentorship. So the easy quick answer would be yes.
All right. Okay.
Was there another question that you wanted?
There's so many questions coming through, Jal. Whenever there's something that's relevant to what you're talking about, because you were talking about you finding mentors, and then we had probably 4 or 5 questions immediately that came through about you being a mentor. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and bring that up. But we'll let you keep pushing forward.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So as far as One Music Fest, we had some tough years, and it's really hard to look at money that you put out that does not come back, and for you to call it an investment. Like that took, that was like mental ninja training on my part, to help me from not going totally insane. Like, okay, there's an investment, it's cool, let's keep moving, watch the duck. We keep paddling. We keep moving forward. So, and again, you don't know what you don't know. And you also don't know who's watching. I think Heineken was a clear example of that. And that helped me actually to use that brand to do brand marketing strategies with Lincoln, with Miller Coors, with Mini Cooper, with Ford, with Gentleman Jack and Jack Daniels, and a host of others, McDonald's, and a host of other brands. But in year 4 of One Music Fest, we had roughly about 8,000 some odd people. That was the year we had Erykah Badu, Snoop Dogg, CeeLo and Goody Mob, and a host of other acts. But there was somebody that was in the shadows, peeking and watching, and that was Live Nation. They were saying, well, what the hell's going on over there with this One Music Fest stuff? Because Live Nation, unbeknownst to me, actually tried to create and wanted to create an urban festival, but had no idea how to do it. So I don't know if it's the how and the why, but because it wasn't, I guess, a big enough passion point to them for them to really try to figure out to pursue it. But as they saw One Music Fest growing year over year over year, they were like, well, why reinvent the wheel? When you got something like this going on in the backyard. So we met with those guys, sat down for lunch, and then actually went from that lunch meeting. The follow-up meeting was with one of the guys out in LA with Live Nation, and then it was with the big guy here in Atlanta that created Music Midtown, which is the city's largest festival. Met with those guys, and it was almost surreal how fast it came to terms in that meeting. It was literally sitting down in the meeting saying, okay, we can do this, this is the split, this is how we're going to figure it out, and this is the way we're going to lay out year 1. And to be 1,000% transparent and honest, it looked great visually, but financially, it was not. The first year we did it with Live Nation, it was not. We both lost money, right? But, the month after, not even a month after, the the week after we did the event, they then came back and said, let's go ahead and reserve this date for next year. They got it. When they saw it, they got it. We see the potential. We get it. We understand how we might have messed up. We understand where the shortfalls were. But we need to do this again. And that was last year. And then this year, we damn near doubled in size to 17,000 some odd people. And you know, and it was a more successful year than the previous year, obviously. So again, you never know who's watching, who's admiring, who's appreciating, and who also wants to partner with you to make your brand that much bigger or better. So it's humbling, but you also need to be open for opportunities. But I would definitely say great things happen when you work your butt off. And there are a lot of people that do take notice. So again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what was coming, but I knew I was passionate about that brand. I was going to continue to invest in that brand. And lo and behold, this Fortune 500 mega giant company wants to get involved. And get involved to, and again, I'm being very transparent and open, but get involved to a degree to where they don't have zero ownership of the brand. They just want to help produce the event. And that's powerful within itself. And that allows, and they saw the value in them not being involved with the brand itself, because they looked at the brand and said the brand is too organic for us to even try to apply our name to. This thing has grown from it's you know, as cliche as it sounds. I mean, it is the rose that grew from the concrete. You know, this thing was truly like just it blossomed out of nothingness, and they didn't want to infringe on that. And that was a big kudos, high five to us. That's how we looked at it. Like, wow, that's pretty awesome. They don't want to put their brand anywhere close to One Music Fest name, because they just wanted to live and keep doing what it's doing on its own. That's a lot of information I just gave you guys. But hey, I hope it helps you guys. I definitely help it, or you understand why that story is so important with regards to being passionate about your project and passionate about your profession. So, am I on the right slide here? Change your mindset, change your life.
Yeah. So
okay.
One of the things that we talked about, you know, that you mentioned was some of the things that were lessons that were gleaned from what you talked about earlier, is that you didn't focus on the money in the beginning. So let's talk about some of the things that stop people from changing, you know, their situation or going from an idea to a brand. Let's talk about that a little bit. And I think, you know, you were talking about focusing on money instead of, you know, building some of the relationships that you built with people early on.
Oh yeah, I mean it's 1,000% relationship driven. And again, yeah, with how technology and just the world is now with social media and everything just being so there's not even a right term, just so non-human, you know, just as far as like the touch and the experience, like everything is just through a screen, you know. It's when we started with Soul Fusion, it wasn't, I'm dating myself, it wasn't MySpace, it wasn't Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You know, we was out hustling. You know, if there was somebody that was doing something that I admired in nightlife and in entertainment, I literally seeked them out. Didn't know them, seeked them out. and said, hey, and came to them humble. I respect what the hell you do. I think you're fantastic at what you do. I'm not asking you for anything, but I want to share with you an idea that I have, and I would love your support. And even if you don't want to support, I'd love for you just to be my guest. Let me invite you out. Let me buy the first round of drinks, but I think you need to be there, And that was my approach, So people that, some of them would brush it off. I don't know you. Some of them would actually show up, or even better, some of them show up or hit you up and say, dude, I'd love to fall through, but I got 5 guests. Bring them. Yeah, let's create a party out of this. Bring them, But, through nightlife and through some of these events and experiences, I was able to kind of develop, grow, and forge these type of relationships and build these types of relationships. And again, this is going to be the 20th time you've heard this comment. You don't know what you don't know. So you have no idea who that or what that relationship is going to develop and turn into. I.e., I just had a meeting today with someone that I did business with, 16 years ago. They had a brand, agency, and we did some stuff with them. And today they dissolved their agency, but I mean, this guy is. Oh, actually, he's going to be one of the guests that's going to sit in on the webinars in the future. But he's an all-star. He's developed and produced television shows for brands. He is the quintessential pitch man. If you send this guy in an office with an idea, he's coming out with a check and a green light for a project. So that was a random relationship that developed 16 years ago, and today we're still figuring out how we're going to build something. What's the next project? And he's an awesome guy. His name is Kembo Tom, and you'll be introduced to him in the webinars in the future. But yeah, relationships are huge. The relationships are huge, and I know a lot of people are from all over the place, from Paris to DC to New York. That's on this call. But Atlanta is not really a big city. It's a big town, and everybody that's in your circles overlap. So you may meet a new face, but if you ask a couple of people, they're going to have a story about that individual, or they know somebody that knows that person. So you can't burn too many bridges out here or conduct too much bad business without it coming back to bite you in the butt. Nurture those relationships, take care of those relationships, but don't always go into a relationship with the whole mindset, well, what's in it for me? Because a lot of times it may be nothing, but you may turn around and that person that you greeted, or just spoke to in a certain manner, or you just that person that you just made feel special may connect the dots later in the future for you. I have another story on that one. A good friend of mine that I went to college with, I kind of adopted her as my little sister when she got to college. And, she had, after she graduated, she had, a few rough times with jobs and job placements. And she as of last year, landed a job with the city of Atlanta. And she's killing it with the city of Atlanta as far as the projects that she's developing and growing for the city. And just last week, she was able to connect me with a major brand that was trying to do an event with the city of Atlanta, but she didn't think that it would actually work, so she redirected that brand to me. And now we have an appointment tomorrow to figure out what's the next step. But that relation started from me seeing a young girl struggling and adopting her as my little sister at Florida A&M 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So, take care of each other. Take care of your relationships, man. And and try to throw. And if you're gonna burn a bridge, make sure it's to light the way for somebody. I definitely recommend nurturing and feeding those and watering those relationships. Social media. I'm sorry, I'm trying to follow the slide here.
You alluded to this earlier, Jay. You mentioned that social media success doesn't necessarily equate to business success. Could you explain what that means to the people on the call?
It's fake currency. It's social media currency. I think some people are so fixated and stuck on how many likes and followers that they have that they kind of just lose touch of reality, like real life. So your success. There's no way you're going to be able to do everything that you're doing and not use social media. Like it is a part of our lives right now, and it's a hell of a machine if used effectively. But if you're looking to sit online and to build a brand, unless you're an app developer, I don't know many other professions where you can just sit there and just live your life online and try to build a brand. Human touch is very, very important. Well, it's important in my business and in my world. So I would say sometimes you got to just click off the screen and get out and set some appointments. Find the people that are successful in the field that you either want to enter or that you're currently in. Seek them out. And I mean, not on any stalker level, but seek them out, and you'll be surprised. I mean, I've heard so many stories about people that actually reached out to these high-powered execs, and they put together these powerful, quick little one-page letters or emails, and actually got a response, and got a 15, 20-minute meeting with these folks. But Google can be your best friend for a little while, but then once you accumulate all that information that you gathered online, you still got to put it to work. Experience is going to be your number one educator. It's going to be the number one thing that actually will teach you the number one thing that's going to teach you what the right way and the wrong way from doing something. There in business, I mean, there's a few equations. Well, within economics, there's equations that always kind of ring true, but in the business world, there is no math for this. There truly is no math. Like it's your hustle, it's your grind, it's your integrity, it's your relationships. It's utilizing your resources, it's knowledge, and it's always seeking knowledge. So don't be so caught up in what you already know that you don't think you need to know anymore. I'm forever learning, and that's one of the things that you'll hear me also make mention of often is, when you first develop your brand, you are a master of your brand, because you put so much time and energy and money and evaluation into building this brand. Everything from how your logo looks, the colors, the feel, the mantra, everything about the brand. Like, you just studied it. You're the master of that brand. But once you release your brand will, and I guarantee that it will take a form of its own. And your brand will also begin to attract certain people that you didn't even, that you never saw coming. So there's a point when you build a brand, or while you're building your brand, where you have to have a moment, and you have to be wise enough to see this moment where you say to yourself, I need to be a student of my brand rather than the master of my brand, because your brand will ultimately get to a point and begin to teach you. Like One Music Fest, my mindset started one way, but then I saw this thing start evolving into something else. And at that point, I had to make a decision. I had to either become a student of this brand and allow it to, or allow me to be taught and allow it to show me what it needed to show me. And what I mean by that is there's your golden base is your supporters, your patrons, the people that patronize your brand, be it if it's a service, an event, a venue, whatever it is, And at that point, you do have to become a student to them and listen to them. What is it that you like? What is it that you love about this brand? What would you change? What would you enhance? How can we make your experience better? And this is all becoming a student. So it's so easy to sketch it out and how it's going to look and how the website's going to look and, how it's going to move and flow. But after when it's all said and done, there's going to have to be an experience that follows that. And once that experience rolls out, it's going to affect people a certain way. And you have to, and at that time, you take the master hat off and you put on the student hat. And that's when I think you're able to take that brand from that one notch up to the next notch. So you could be 3 feet away from gold. That is true. That is true. That's an old saying. It's like the prime and the pump saying. Back in the colonial days, you had to go out to the field and prime the pump to get your water. You had no idea when that water was going to start gushing out the sprout, but you just had to keep priming the pump. And that's what it's about, And that is when I said earlier about taking inventory in your life and have a real come to Jesus moment and say, you know what, is this something I can truly pursue? And if it's something that you truly 1,000% believe in, and it's that one thing gnawing at you, keeping you up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, tossing and turning with ideas, standing in the shower for 25 minutes, daydreaming about this thing. We've all been there. The thing that makes you black out while you're just driving the car, because you're just so involved in this idea, this thought, you're not even cognizant of the things happening around you. That idea, that's not a hobby. That's a true passion. And then you need to, again, take inventory and say, is this something that I'm willing to invest in, and I'm willing to lose my time, my friends, and relationships, possibly, to put my energy into this brand, into this idea. And if all those answers are yes, then don't stop priming the pump, and don't stop digging. Because you have no idea when success will pop up and rear its beautiful face. So yeah, hard work will pay off all the time, and you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. You can be limitless if you want. You have to figure out your motivation, and that's real. Is your motivation, is it success or is it money? Some people say, success, money is not always success, and success is not always money. And a prime example is One Music Fest. For years, it has been digging and burning a hole in my pocket. But from everybody else, oh my God, oh yeah, a great event. Billboard does a write-up, MTV does a write-up. It's fantastic. It's needed, you know, from everybody else's eyes, a huge success. So is success money? Not always. Not always. That was some great PR that we got that money can't buy, you know. So, you know, you have to evaluate what's success, and then how to use those moments to build upon some momentum. So for us, yeah, the first 4 or 5 years wasn't success. Had nothing to do with financial success. It was being able to double our numbers every year. It was being able to go from, and this is a real number I'm about to say, being able to go from, you know, we had like 100 million, no, I think we had like 6 million media impressions year one. You know, I'm happy to say this year we had close to 1.1 billion impressions for One Music Fest. And the day after One Music Fest, it was the #1 trending hashtag for like an hour and a half. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. So, you know, for that's success. So did that come in a form of a check? No. But by building it to that point, the, you know, 2016 and 17 will look very different when you go in to speak with your Miller Coors or your Heinekens or your Toyotas or these other brands that may want to get involved with the event. Totally different conversation now. But it was a lot of pitfalls and a lot of money lost, or better yet, invested to get to that point. So, you know, success looks different for everybody. But you know, even in your losses, there's wins, and you got to figure out how to take those wins and build on them.
All right, Jay. So let's do this, man. We have so many questions, and guys, I want you to definitely keep taking pictures of the screen. Keep Instagramming me your questions. What we're gonna do here, Jay, is let's spend about the next 5 to 7 minutes. I'm gonna just do kind of rapid fire if I can. If I can get through some of these questions, I'm scrolling all the way back up. And Jay, we still have, I think we've only lost maybe 1 or 2 people, and I think one person actually reconnected. So we still have a full call. So let's see. So Jay, here's a question, and this question comes from Mike Jordan. His question is, how do you pick your partners? It's a multiple questions, but I guess that's the first one. And since we want to do this rapid fire, I'll let you go, you know, answer that question, and I'll move on to the next one by Christina Scott. All right, so the first one is from Mike Jordan. And if you guys want to ask your questions live, if you would just press the button to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I will let you ask your questions live, and I won't, you know, I'm sure you're tired of my voice, and it will definitely, you know, get you a chance to talk to Jay and let him answer your questions live. So if you guys raise your hand, I will let you ask your questions. I'll tell you what, let's do that. After you answer Mike's question, I'm going to start unmuting people and letting them ask you directly. So guys, go ahead, press the button to raise your hand, and I will let you. I see Christina's hand is up. I see a few more hands going up. So go ahead and answer Mike's question on how do you pick your partners, and then we'll go to the next question.
Good question, Mike. You know, we had some issues a couple of years, well, year one with some of the partners. You really got to find folks that believe in the vision, and I was trying to push a square peg through a hole year one. You know, I found myself really trying to sell my idea to the people that I partner with year one to do One Music Fest. You gotta find folks that believe in your idea, they believe in you, but even bigger than that they fill a space that you can't fill. You know, I mean, everybody plays an important role on the team. So, you know, and again, you have to take self-inventory. I know this. There's quite a few things I'm not good at. You know, when it comes to just doing certain things, I may not be the best person with, you know, and I'll say it, even organizing. Like, I have so many different ideas. Like, you may walk in a room and it's all different types of stuff on a whiteboard and post-its everywhere, and notes over here and notes over there. So, you know, but you know, so I needed somebody that can actually come in and just put the arms around everything and say, you know, and really kind of task manage all these different ideas. So that's a partner. That's somebody that's involved. But again, I mean, I think knowledge of self really allows you to start really finding folks that complement you, but also definitely find folks that believe in your vision and believe in you. It's tough, man. You're not. I mean, you're not gonna pick the, you know, an all-star team off rip. You know, I mean, Brett Favre got picked up by the Atlanta Falcons first before he went to Green Bay. You know, they thought they had somebody, didn't know what they had, and got rid of him. You know, lo and behold, you know, this guy goes on to be one of the greatest. You know, you sometimes you just don't know. You know, or sometimes you pick that you know, that #1 draft pick and it's a flop. You know, you really just don't know. So there will be some stumbles along the way, man. But you'll definitely grab you a couple of gems if you find those people that believe in you and again help fill the space that you can't fill.
All right. I'll tell you what. Looks like Christina. Okay, Christina Scott, Krys. Christina, if you're there, I'm gonna unmute your microphone. Looks like you have your hand up, so I will go ahead and let you ask your question. Christina, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Christina. First of all, where are you calling in from?
I'm actually calling in from Atlanta.
Oh, Christina from Atlanta. Real quick, since you're on, what is your Instagram name? We're gonna have everybody go follow you real quick on Instagram. What is your Instagram name?
Chris Dash. I actually met Jason through Skills at One Music Fest.
Oh, what now?
I was introduced to you by Mad Skills at One Music Fest. I was taking pictures on my phone.
Yeah. That's family. Yeah, Skills will tell you.
Yeah.
Skills was there from the beginning. Yeah.
He definitely looks out for me, him and Lonnie. That's my uncle, Lonnie B.
You said what now?
DJ Lonnie B, that's my uncle, so they definitely, you know, look out for me.
That's what's up. Yeah, now Mad Skills is my folks. Yeah, he's actually going to be the master ceremonies at our New Year's Eve party this year. So that's my guy. So what's your question, Christina?
Yeah, my question is, when you're seeking out sponsors and you're looking for strategic partnerships, are you getting the strategic partnerships through your company itself, like through your brand, or are you getting the partnerships for the One Music Fest events that you're doing? So let's say that, for instance, let's say you're partnering with Heineken. Is it specifically for One Music Fest, or is it for anything that your company, any events that your company is doing?
Well, both, really. Well, back when we first started working with Heineken, we produced multiple events for them, and a few like weekly reoccurring events we did. As of today, we don't really do Soul Fusion events, really. So Soul Fusion kind of spawned off, and it has another brand, which is Soul Fusion Media Group. And Soul Fusion Media Group seeks out these sponsors now to produce experiential activations and events, where One Music Fest is the biggest one that we have and the biggest one we produce. So the main conversation we have now with sponsors is getting them involved with the festival and also some of the feeder events we have leading up to the festival throughout the year.
Got it. Thank you for answering my question.
Okay. I appreciate you asking.
All right. So let's see. This question is coming from. I think you asked that already. Sponsors. How do you seek out strategic sponsors? in the music industry, I live in one of the cities. I want to help artists be heard, but I don't know who to contact as far as getting sponsors and funds to assist. So let me try and restate that question. So if someone's starting out, and I think you actually spoke to this, but if someone's starting out, how do they position their brand to make it attractive for sponsorship?
I'm sorry. Say that again, AJ.
So I'm seeing several questions of people that are asking about sponsorship. I mean, literally, probably 2 out of every 4 questions is about sponsorship. So if someone's starting out, and I'm trying to, use a broad brushstroke and capture all the questions, but if someone's just starting out, how would they position their brand in a way that it's attractive to sponsors? Like, what are the brands, since you've worked with a brand, what are the things that brands are looking for as it relates to events, or as it relates to parties, or as it relates to, social gatherings?
That's tough. That's tough because every brands are talking in July 2015 about what they're going to be doing in 2016 and 2017. Like they have these meetings recurring all the time as far as positioning their brands and how they want to roll out. So, I hate to say it like this, there is no really one answer for that. A gentleman named Steve Canal, who works directly for MillerCoors, is going to be one of my guests in one of the webinars, in the forthcoming webinars. But he could probably speak that better than I. But what I will say is these brands get thousands of sponsorship decks a week, a day. It's thousands. So yeah, how does your event, or how does your idea or your service or your artist, how do they differentiate themselves from all the rest? And again, I hate to put it as blunt as this, but you got to figure it out. You definitely got to figure out what sets you apart. But I'll say the number one thing that sets you apart is relationship. So if I get a blind deck that comes across my desk that looks impressive, visually impressive, but I don't know who you are, or there is no point of reference, or there is no introduction from somebody that I respect and I know, I'm probably not going to look at it. Probably, and I'm talking from a brand management person at a Fortune 500 company. But again, if you're at a convention, you're at a social, you're at one of their events, you maybe prompt them, throughout the year with random emails, just reaching out, just want to make sure I'm on your radar. You got to get out and meet and shake these hands. These people that's in control of these budgets and checks, they spend money not with brands, not with ideas. They spend money with people. They got to like you. They got to know who you are, what you're about, how you tick. Okay, and what is it now that you do? They got to like you. So if you're hiding behind a screen, or you're hiding behind 10 million, Instagram followers, I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. But if they want to reach, 500,000 or 1 million some odd people on social media, I mean, they'll go out and contract, LeBron James. Why do they need to talk to you? So again, it's that's where relationships come into play. You got to tune off the digital sometimes and really get human on these folks and touch them, shake their hand, share a laugh, share a story, share a moment. But honestly, networking is probably the most underrated way to make something happen.
Nice. All right. So again, thanks everybody for coming out. And now we want to just talk about the course that Jay has put together, and he has a huge cast of very talented individuals. So as a 4-week course, it is called, of course, Making the Brand. The course is going to be just like this tonight. It's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half each night. And he's going to show you, tonight he covered a lot, but over the course of this 4-week course, he's going to literally show you step by step. And, we'll answer all your questions in a deep dive session, going really deep into, hey, here's step 1, here's step 2. And, these are some of the things exactly that you need to do based on the experience that he had. So it's going to show you how to take your idea into a brand. So it's going to be 4 modules. Module number one, he's talking about pinpointing your mission, deciding how you want to be seen, how you want your brand to be seen, and thinking like your customers. So Jay, if you could just really quickly just kind of give an overview over, some of the things you're going to talk about in module 1.
Well, yeah, it goes back to what I said before, but pinpointing your mission, like what really why, like the why behind your brand, what would differentiate you from other people in your business. Is there a need for it? Are you truly passionate about it? Is it a business or is it a hobby? What is the business model? You really kind of got to hone down and say, if I'm going to jump, make it a calculated jump. And then, then the fun stuff. Once you make that jump and you say, this is it, this is what I want to do, I love it, I'm living it, I'm going for it, deciding how you want your brand to be seen. How are people going to interpret your brand? Like, what is the messaging? I mean, everything down to the font, to your core mission. Again, it goes back to the why. I mean, look at candy cakes. God, love them. Candy cakes, for all your folks that don't live in Atlanta, the best cupcakes and cakes and pastries. And I'm not a big sweets guy, but personally, just it was a black woman, young lady named Cami that made awesome pastries. She had a little shop. It was strategically located in Atlanta. She came up with a little cute logo. Awesome. And then, a few people started, going, just really started talking about candy cakes online. It was a viral thing. I think she has like 5 different stores now. She's shipping her pastries across the nation. But it was another cupcake shop. What made her different? It was everything from the different type of flavors that she had. It was her packaging. It was the human element of her brand as well. As far as when you called them, how they treated you when you walked into their store. The entire staff, it felt like people that you knew all the time, or forever. But that was all a part of the brand. It was supposed to make you, a cupcake's supposed to make you feel good. So was the person standing behind that counter.
Absolutely.
So it was that element. You know what I'm saying? So deciding on how you want your brand to be seen and how you want your brand to how you want your brand to make people feel as well. And then once you get to a certain level of brand development, you got to start thinking like your customers, and that's when you become a student of your brand. So as a patron attending One Music Fest, what would I want to see? What more would I want out of this experience? And that's the next step. That's how you keep making it better and enhancing it each and every year. Not only for yourself, but also for the patrons, for that person that decided to spend that $65 on that ticket. I got to give this person an experience. I want them walking away and telling 10 people that One Music Fest was unlike anything they ever attended in their life, and they have to go back, and they want to bring 5, 10 people with them.
Absolutely. And all right, so module 2, he's going to talk about refining your brand, design essentials. He mentioned fonts earlier, communicating your brand to your team. Module 3, and again, guys, each one of these modules will take place a different week, and it's a 4-week course. Module 3, backing up your message that you're communicating with your brand, back that message up with your product or your service, understanding the market. Doing a competitive analysis, looking at other people that are out there, and also talking to your customers. Module 4, step by step, how to develop a marketing strategy. Building your social media presence, web design, community involvement. All these are things that Jay is already created an outline and really poured into each one of these subjects. And again, this 4-week course, like he said in the beginning, is really going to deep dive in some of the people that he talked about. So we talked about, what would the price be for something like this? And I see another question here, and I'm just going to ask you guys, what would this? How much value? Let me go ahead and answer this question real quick, Jay. Let's see here. So looks like we got a question from Jeremiah. Before we go further into the course, Jeremiah, I'm going to go ahead and unmute your mic and let you ask your question. Jeremiah, you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, it's Jeremiah. I'm out of the Atlanta area as well. I just wanted to understand from you, Jay. Well, I have a lot of different questions, but I'll just choose one. You talk about setting your brand apart, and it required you to, obviously tap into the organic nature of it and sustain long enough for it to be successful from a financial perspective. But what were some of the things that you did over time to withstand, the inevitable of maybe losing money here or there? What were some of the things that you did to make sure that you weren't exposing yourself too much? If you have any, just best practices around limiting your exposure to the degree that you can, that would be very helpful too.
Okay, great question, man. Again, that comes with taking self-inventory. It is taking these calculated risks. Sometimes you're going to produce an event and with having knowledge of how much you can afford to invest, because we won't say lose. I can afford to invest. I do have other businesses outside of One Music Fest. My family and I. When I say my family, I mean me and my fiance, and we have 2 children, but they're not in business or kids. But we, as a family, have other businesses that we're involved with, and so we do sit down at the table and say, look, what can we afford to lose? What can we afford to lose? And you do start building up a nest egg, that investment nest egg. But it's also the power of partnerships is something that's overlooked as well. With Live Nation coming on board, they did take some of the weight of the expense off me, because if you're a partner and you plan on winning, then you plan on investing too. So partnerships, strategic partnerships, if you're leery of putting up everything that you got into this thing, then sometimes you have to seek other folks that believe just as much as you do in your mission and in your brand. And if they truly do believe, then what does that equate to in dollars? Are you willing to lose what I lose, and are you willing to win what I win? So sometimes you can't take that leap by yourself. So you have to be open to sometimes strategic partnerships. So that so doing that deal with them did help to a degree. And the fantastic thing is that it didn't put a dent in the armor of integrity as far as, with the brand. So they appreciated the brand enough for us to still have complete ownership of how it looks and how it rolls out. They just want to play in the same sandbox. So, if you're not willing to or you've taken inventory as far as financial inventory of you, yourself, and your time and your resources, and you don't think you have what it takes to build what you want to build, then yeah, I think you gotta find some like-minded folks and maybe do some strategic partnerships.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Thanks for the question.
Excellent. All right. So I'm getting more and more feedback from people. So about the 10 or 11 people have asked me to go back through the slides. So I'm going to go back to the modules, and we're going to read each module just to make sure you guys know exactly what you're getting. So number one, we're going to talk about your mission, deciding how you want your brand to be seen, thinking like your customer. And again, Jay's touched on all these tonight at a high level, but during the course, you actually get, all of your questions answered. And I know there's probably about 40, 50 questions that I couldn't get to tonight just because we're already at an hour or hour and a half. So module 2, refining your brand language, design essentials from fonts to color choices and why do you choose certain colors, communicating your brand to your team. Again, you want your team to speak the same language about your brand, right? So, when you're talking to Cami Cakes and you go, into one Cami Cakes, you go into the one, over here in West Atlanta, and then you go to the one in Buckhead, you want your people saying the same things, right? So
right.
Again, it's communicating that brand to your team so that they can all speak the same language. Module 3, backing your message up with your product or service. And again, to go back to the Cami Cakes example, again, it's cupcakes. Cupcakes make you feel good. So you want to choose colors that make people feel warm and welcome when they walk in, right? So understanding your market, doing a competitive analysis. What is it that sets your brand apart? Why is it that Cami Cakes is hugely successful and then the next 100 cupcake stands after Cami Cakes all are, out of business and everybody's trying to move on to cake pops now, but she's still doing, cupcakes, right? So why is it that she has the longevity? Module 4, developing a marketing strategy. Again, it's going to be a step-by-step marketing strategy. We touched on social media, but how do you actually leverage social media so that you're using it to your advantage and you're not just posting, a bunch of stuff that brands and nobody really cares about. We're going to talk about web design, community involvement. So these are all the things that are going to happen in this 4-week course. And I just want to, again, everybody's chomping into bits saying, how much is it? How much is it? So here we go. So we thought about a course. It's going to be an hour and a half a night. It's going to be 4 weeks. So you're going to get, anywhere from 4 to 8.5, 10 hours. You'll get all your questions answered, hands down. Every question that you ask, you'll get to do a deep dive session. It's going to be very intimate. So again, you get to build a relationship not only with Jay and some of the guests that he's bringing on, and I'm going to get to those in a minute, but with other people who are a part of this, right? So you get to become part of the making the brand. This is module 1, but it can turn into, you never know how this turns out, right? So again, so we talked about the price being $199, but for tonight only until midnight, the course is going to be $69. $69. Now, again, there's regular price $199. If you want to get in from now until midnight, so you have about an hour and 20 minutes to go over to buy.makingthebrandATL.com. Click there, go ahead and sign up. We already have a slew of people that have already signed up, and we want to thank everybody that has already signed up. And I think we're going to cap it at about 100 people. So again, go ahead and go over to buy.makingthebrandATL.com. And this is just the course, right? We haven't even got into the bonus instructors. I'm going to move forward to those slides in a minute. And one of the bonus teachers is Myleik Till, and these are all people that are Jay's friends, right? So I'll let Jay just kind of give you a very brief, because we're running out of time, just a brief overview over who each one of these people are. Go ahead, Jay.
Myleik, she's just awesome. She's totally awesome. So all my natural hair enthusiasts out there, you know Curlbox. So if you know Curlbox, you probably know Myleik as well. Myleik, I met, I don't know how many years ago, but we met socializing at a party, and she was like, I heard of you, Jay Carter. How come you don't have a PR person around you? You need to be on the scene more. And I was like, Myleik, that's just not my personality. I'm good. And, because she was a PR person. Like, she was a PR person for, oh, God, I just blanked out, the drummer for Blink-182. But y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so she was his PR person and everybody else in between. But she was like, you know what? Okay, I know you don't want a PR person. I'll do it free. Let me just be a PR person free. And that's how our relationship started. Like, this woman literally just did some PR stuff for me for nothing. And then she then we had another conversation. I was like, Myleik, you're so awesome at PR. Why don't you have your own brand? Like, why isn't there something that you're passionate about and you can apply your skill set to your own thing? And that's when she came with the concept of Curlbox. And Curlbox is a huge sensation right now. I got hundreds of thousands of followers. It's $1 million brand at this point. But as far as PR and branding and brand marketing and networking and hustle, oh yeah, she is a little sensei and a ball of energy and a breath of knowledge and information. So you guys are gonna love her. She's quirky, she's funny, she's crazy. But she's gonna be our guest. Kembo Tom, I may mention that before. Kembo Tom is an amazing dude. He actually had a company called GTM, which was a brand marketing agency, highly successful brand marketing agency. Al Gore came out with a network called Current TV. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's progressive news powered by the people. They had Kembo Tom's agency roll out a 15-city tour with Al Gore, the Fugees, and everybody in between promoting this network. That was Kembo. He later went on and did a deal with Smirnoff Vodka and produced one of the first and only branded spirit-branded television show and concept, Master of the Mix, which was on, it wasn't on VH1. I believe it was actually on BET. But that was his concept that he presented. Hugely successful guy. He's working with us on One Music Fest as well. But he's going to be one of my guest panelists as well. Great guy. Slew of information. Steve Canal, awesome dude. Great friend of mine. We actually were friends before he actually came on board with Miller Coors, and he's like a national director with Miller Coors now. But prior to that, he started Think Group Media, which was his brand agency. And within his brand agency, one of his biggest clients was the U.S. Army, and he had to make the U.S. Army look cool. So they did all the activations nationwide for the U.S. Army, and also a lot of lifestyle brands as well. He did some work with Miller Coors. Miller Coors like, dude, you're too awesome just to be out here doing this stuff on your own, and they hired him, and they won't let him go. He rolled out the Tap the Future campaign, and that's with what's my man's name from Shark Tank, Damian Johns. And it's this whole campaign where they literally traveled the nation speaking to people with ideas and entrepreneurs and inventors that have these ideas. They allow them to pitch, just like Shark Tank, city to city to city to city. and they literally are giving folks $5, $10, $15, and $50,000 checks, city to city to city, to help them build their dreams. This was his concept. He got MillerCoors involved, and it's probably one of the most successful campaigns that MillerCoors has ever seen. And they're creating wealth out here and creating and helping businesses grow. And that's the kind of guy that Steve is. Big hard guy, big picture guy, brand marketing guru. So he'll be on the call with us. And then lastly, Shanti Das. If you live in Atlanta or if you're in the industry, you can't not know Shanti Das. I met Shanti when I was in college doing that movie, Chocolate City, way back when. Walked in her office, didn't know her. Again, another story. We wanted to push our movie that we just completed, and we wanted, and at this time, Outkast was just now coming out. And we said, yo, we want to get Outkast to be in our movie. So we went to LaFace, and Shanti worked at LaFace. We didn't know Shanti. We didn't know anybody at LaFace. We literally called LaFace and walked through the doors and sat in the lobby till we could talk to somebody. And that's what you have to do sometimes. We finally was able to get in the office with Shanti. She's like, I don't know if we can make this work. You guys are filming in Tallahassee, and Outkast are new. Not a lot of people know him. But I got this other guy. I got this young kid. He's 13 years old, and his name is Usher. What do you think about that? He's like, Usher? 13? What are we going to do with this 13-year-old kid in a movie about college? And we passed on Usher. So, but anyway, long story short. So, yeah, Shanti helped grow and develop TLC, Outkast, Usher. She has a top-selling book now. Every time I walk through the airport, it's being promoted at the bookstore in the airport. She is the hip-hop professional. So she is a guru with regards to record industry knowledge and how to grow and develop music brands and names. So she'll be one of the guests as well in the webinar. She's awesome.
All right. So again, those are the four guests that we're going to have on. Again, you can go right now from now till midnight. The course will be $69. After that, the course will be going up. I think we're raising it to $89 after tonight. So again, right now we have about 2 or 3 minutes of Q&A. Then we're going to let you guys have the rest of your evening back. Again, if you are interested, if you have any questions, go ahead and type the questions in the chat window right now so that we can answer questions. And yes, we want to start welcoming people who are joining the course. Looks like, who is this? Give me a second here. Jared, welcome to the, all right, Jared has joined. Thank you so much for joining, Jared. Renice, okay. Hey, Renice, okay, Jared, we got a couple people are starting to join the course. Again, guys, go ahead and go over to buy.makingthebrandatl.com right now if you want to dig deeper and take your branding knowledge to the next level with Jay and with all the guests that he has. So let me see. What other question? What dates of the course? Okay, so the course will start 2 weeks from tonight. So what is that? November 10th. Is that right, Jay? November 10th. Yeah, 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, November today. So next week is
yeah.
So November 10th, and it will go 4 Tuesdays. Latricia, good question. It will be Tuesday, November 10th, the 24th, the 1st of December, and then the 8th of December. The week of the 17th, we're going to have to move it over to that Wednesday or Thursday. But again, it's going to be the next 4 Tuesdays, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday after that. It will be, we'll have the course. And let's see, will the course be recorded? Yes, the course will be recorded. So if you do miss a module, you will have access to that module. The course will be on Tuesday nights. All the recordings will be posted by noon the next day for those who missed the course. Will we have homework? Yes, you will have homework. This is not just a listening exercise. This is actually going to be a learning exercise. So we want to make sure that, you know, after you take the course, that there are takeaways. Can you get the recording from the night? What is the URL to purchase? The URL to purchase is buy.makingthebrand.com. Let me go back to the slide. It is buy.makingthebrand.atl.com. That is the URL to buy. Can we get the recording from tonight? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. We kind of said that we are going to do a one night only deal tonight, but we'll see. We'll see. We may throw up a recording. Let's see. Time is now 10:50. If you guys any more questions, continue asking the questions. We want to welcome all you guys to the course. This is awesome. Thank you so much for the seminar, Jay. Let's see.
You're welcome. I appreciate all of you all. I mean, this is awesome having you guys on this call. I mean, it says a lot about each and every one of you guys. So I hope you were able to walk away with something. I know the course would be amazing as well. So I appreciate you all.
Absolutely. And for you guys, again, we did mention, okay, the scholarships. Somebody asked about the scholarship. All right, so I appreciate the time you shared, giving us your knowledge to build. That's Patricia. Well, thank you, Patricia, for joining. It looks like you dropped off for a second, but you're back with us. That's what's up. So we did say we're going to have a scholarship. So Jay, you have an idea of what someone has to do right now, and what we mean by scholarship is this is going to be a contest, and if you win this contest, you get to join the course for free. However, what we're saying is you have to then turn around and recruit other people to listen or to consider signing up for the course. That's the only thing that we're asking. But Jay actually is going to come up with a contest right here live on the fly. I'm putting Jay on the spot to come up with the people. There you go, Jay. Right there as we do.
All right. Well, so the contest. Let's see. Give me. Wow. Not this year that just passed, but just real simple. Four artists that performed not this year, but last year at One Music Fest. Just 4 artists.
And let's make it interesting too, Jay. So let's do this. Create a collage with 4.
Oh, buddy.
We're gonna make them work, bro. This is a scholarship, man. They got to do some work, man. They can't just list it in the chat window like I'm in the game.
Right. Okay.
So here's what we got to do. Could you scroll back through the modules one more time? Okay. I will in just a second, Latricia, and thank you so much for asking. So create a collage of 4 artists from last year. Tag Jay Carter, tag myself with the hashtag making the brand and the hashtag One Music Fest. There you go. So the first person to do a collage, you'll get the course for free, all 4 modules. So let's go back through the modules. 3 more people have now asked to see all the modules for the deep dive. So, and here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. The people that Jay is talking about that are going to be instructors, they're actually going to be on the modules, on various modules, helping, answer your questions. So you'll get to be, in front of these people who have all this knowledge. So let's go back to the modules. All right, module 1, pinpointing your mission. Module 2, pinpointing your mission, deciding how you want your brand to be seen, thinking like your customer. That's module 1. Module 2, refining your brand language, these design essentials for your brand, communicating your brand to your team. Again, you do want your team speaking the same language. Module 3, backing your message up with your product or service. Understanding your market, doing a competitive analysis. How do you do a competitive analysis? How do you look at the landscape and see what's out there and see how you can bring something different? And I go back to the example that Jay used on the Atlanta party scene when he started Soul Fusion. He looked at all the parties out there and he said, hey, everything out there is cookie cutter. Like, what is it, and none of it's speaking to me specifically, right? So we saw a gap in the market, and then he filled that gap. And lo and behold, there were other people out there who were looking for, the same thing. I tell you what, if you have ever been to a Soul Fusion party, I was kind of early in the game before I even knew Jay. I was at the party. So if you've ever been to a Soul Fusion party, just go ahead and type Soul Fusion in the chat window and tell me the location of the first Soul Fusion party that you went to. Let's see. Karen, Karen said she went to Aja. Aja was a little bit later. That was Jay, when was Aja? Where was Aja on the timeline of Soul Fusion?
That was 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, so, I would say.
So in the timeline of Soul Fusion, if Soul Fusion was start and finish, where was Aja in that window?
It was at the end. I would say towards the end of more towards the end.
Angie Scott, her first Soul Fusion was at the Underground, so it sounds like you were at Sugar Hill.
Yeah, we did a couple down at Sugar Hill.
All right.
But that was probably middle ground, middle of the way through.
Looks like Priscilla has uploaded. So Priscilla, my first fusion was at a restaurant called Susie Wong off Howell Mill.
Ooh, Susie Wong. That was a night. That was crazy. That was a fun one. You caught, yeah. It was Sampan and Susie Wong. Yeah, that was an indoor-outdoor event we did in West Atlanta. That was a hot party. We had a ball. I think we had D Nice DJing.
He said it was Aziz. Aziz says it was epic. So Priscilla, I see you uploading the document, but you have to upload it to social media, and you have to tag myself and Jay Carter on Instagram, and you have to use this hashtag making the brand and the hashtag looks like we already have a winner. This is Shara. Are you still on the call? Looks like we have a winner. Let's see, Shara, give me a second, Jay. We're gonna give this scholarship away real quick. Shara Gaston, it looks like. Hey Shara, I'm gonna unmute your microphone. Shara, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. How are you?
Well, fantastic. How are you?
I'm wonderful now. Hey Jay, how are you?
I'm well. I see that you won the scholarship. That's awesome.
Yes, I've been a huge fan and follower of you for years. I actually used to, I'm in the music industry, and when I lived in Atlanta, I attended Clark Atlanta and did quite a few events and launched a platform for artists at Sugar Hill. So I'm definitely very well versed with you, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all the support throughout the years, and hopefully this is our give back. So I'm happy we're able to grab this opportunity and this quote unquote scholarship. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, and Shara, where are you now? Did you say you're in Atlanta right now?
I'm currently in Boston.
Oh, you're in Boston. Okay. So what took you away from Atlanta? Real quick, we still have people joining, Jay. So I'm just gonna talk to Shara for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It was actually a family issue that brought me back here, but I still have very close ties to Atlanta. I was just there for homecoming this past weekend, and I actually, when I moved to Boston, was able to start working as an A&R for Def Jam. So I've been, in the industry and are definitely looking to launch quite a few things in Boston that are not here and that are in Atlanta. So again, following the footsteps, and this has been very informative of Jay to give this webinar tonight.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right, go ahead, Jay.
No. I mean, she came back for Clark and then Miles Spelman homecoming. We already know how you party. I heard that was insane.
Insane.
So, I'm glad you made it back safely.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 10:59. Jay has given you 2 good, solid hours of his time. I see the questions are still coming. I tell you what, 10:59. All right, I think this is good, Jay. What you think now? We need to go ahead and call it and give people time. Oh, can you tell us, Shara? People are asking for your IG. Go ahead and Shara, if you would type your IG in the chat window, I'll go ahead and share it. The young lady that just won the scholarship, Shara. I'm gonna type it in. It's SHARA.AMANDA. All right, I want everybody to go follow Shara Amanda right now. I just typed it in the chat window. I think everybody should be able to see it. Send to all. All right, hey Jeremiah, you're welcome, man. All right, guys. So the time is 11 o'clock. We appreciate everybody. You guys have a good night. Again, share this, continue taking pictures, share it on social media, and we will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much. Jay, I'll let you have closing words, brother.
Well, keep going after the dream. Keep going after the dream, you guys. It's possible. It's feasible. And again, you know, if you and have the right intentions in building your brands. Don't be scared to take risks. Don't be scared of partnerships. Don't be scared to talk about your ideas. Again, you don't know what you don't know. Always work like everybody's watching, because you'll be surprised how many people actually are and taking notice. And some of those people that are watching not only become supporters, but they can potentially become partners. So believe in yourself, believe in your heart, believe in your mission, believe in your brand, and congratulations for all of you all being a part of this call, and I wish you all the best of luck with anything that you touch and put your heart into.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care.